Do you recognize this album? What about this album? This album? Or better yet, this album? Those albums that I showed are considered to be classic albums. Now, what does it mean to have a classic album? Well, here is a definition right here. Classic album is generally defined as a highly influential, critical acclaimed, and durable musical work that remains popular throughout the years. Which means that if it can, let's say an album comes out today, we gotta wait until like even after the trends, it's gonna be out. It's gonna be so popular and everything. Now, I'm just one dude that's telling my opinions on what should be considered a title classic album or what shouldn't be, and how people should look at when they define the word classic because many people use it very loosely. Now, before I talk about more about the subject, please, if you like this type of video, press the like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell for more updates, and let's just get started. All right. So, what classic albums need to have are five characteristics. First, it has to have longevity, timelessness, which means maybe 10 years or 5 years along those roads of what should be considered a classic if it sounds really fresh still till 3 years later or 5 years. Significant impact, influence. What did it do to change the music culture? What did it do to change not just American culture but like the world culture in general? What did it do for also other peers that write music did? Now, this could be debatable, but number three, consistency. No skip potential. Straight, perfect. 12 songs, perfect. Nothing wrong with it, not even skippable. Can you still listen to the album the second time and it still be perfect? Now, also there's originality. Has something like this has ever been done before? Yes? No? If it has, well, you're in for a ride for that originality because originality is until this day is very hard to find, and now it's just a bunch of people playing things safe. Now, I wouldn't say it's everyone's fault for doing this, but um, inspiration, it's hard to find something new and then like keep it originality but still good. Now, general consensus, this is really debatable, and I'm going to tell you more about it later, but I think this is really important. Who should it really matter? Who reviews music in general? Is it the consumer? Is it the high review people? Reviewers like Rolling Stones, XSL, or Pitchfork? Now, we may not agree with everything when it comes to music. It is personal preference. I get it. But sometimes there are number gaps where people agree with the same stuff, react the same, saying this has changed our lives or this is still sound really good. I'm gonna play it in the club every single time. Everybody has, yes, people has personal preferences, but sometimes personal preferences isn't really enough to get by to what you're trying to say. Now, I'm gonna bring some examples of what some of the albums did to are considered classics. Now, "To Pimp a Butterfly" by Kendrick Lamar came out 2015. Now, at first, um, this album is known to be highly political influential. Talk about Black America. What does it mean to be a black person with equality and like street politics. And we have songs like "All Right," which literally plays during protests or like political campaigns. And we have "King Kunta," And we also have the song "You," which deals with like addiction and like drinking, depression, and everything. Now, what I'm gonna say is, does every album has to be lyrically great and something meaningful? Not always, but now what this album does has a powerful message, and what Kendrick did to this album and the whole team um, impacted so much with this. It literally have colleges study with this album. That's how big deal it is. This album came out like 11 years ago, and it's still in people's rotation to this day. You cannot tell me that this is not a classic. Every song has an important message and meaning, and and the and like I said, personal preferences. You may not like this, but you have to admit, like, if you see some things, you can definitely admit like something should be recognized as a classic like this album. Now, at first, when I was a teenager, I didn't really like the album that much because I couldn't understand it why. But now I do. Now, with that being said, when you like in now, yeah, what when I can't get wrap my head around, but when it comes liking something or disliking something, just cause you said that you dislike an album doesn't considered like in 5 years, oh, it's not gonna be a classic. Because if you keep hearing the music from other places or like different events, and you have to recognize what those songs or albums do. Now, just because you dislike things doesn't mean, oh, it's not a classic. Or let's say, I don't know, like New Future album came out today. Really love it. It's trending, for 1 year. And you say, oh, it's a classic because you listen to the album once and you just keep listening to the music, but then later on you stopped. And what happened? Those are the things that you have to think about when it comes to music like that. It has a longevity. People still go back and listen to them, and it inspired so many new rappers today. It also has an impact. Don't forget, it did an impact, like in politics, black culture, hip hop culture, you name it, and is very consistent. Most people, I would argue to say it has maybe some skips, but not for like playlist purposes and everything. And that's a thing that people have to realize, that just because it's not playlist worthy doesn't really mean like the songs are like terrible and everything. It just means sometimes it just means that you just have to listen to the whole album to go to that song, and then it just sounds better that way. Now does To Pimp a Butterfly have originality? Yes, some. It does. Has some jazz elements and everything. Now, it's not the first album that did it, but it revolutionized the sound of what came after later, years later. And the critics love it. They die for it. Pitchfork gave it like, I believe, like a 9. Rolling Stones are loving it, and casual, it's just something way different. Um yeah, so it it does have a lot of impact, and that's why it's considered a classic. And you can't not tell me why. Now for another album, Taylor Swift, 1989. Now, I may not be a huge Swifty, but I do like some of her songs, and I think 1989 is really good. Now when it comes to like consistency, Um, Taylor has been really good with doing those type of things with her albums, especially in 1989. With her original, by the way, that is Taylor's version. So, until this, speaking of that, yeah, till this day, she's decided to remake that album, and people are still buying it. People are still listening to this. People love Taylor. I can still hear Blank Space. I can still hear, all the other songs from that album. But now what it did is made a new definition and a new movement. It's called poptimism. It's like a movement that is acceptable for critics and fans who embrace mainstream pop, mainstream noises, and it's okay to like blend genres without restricted in a traditional sense. So that's what Taylor Swift did. And you have to admit, even though if you don't like her or she's cringe, she did something different that most artists were try to do, and that's why Taylor Swift 1989 is very successful. And also, not just only that, but it revived the 80s aesthetics, going back to nostalgia, 80s sound, um things like that, and also like her album, her cover art, it looks like came came from the 80s and everything. People love nostalgia, and you cannot run away from nostalgia, and that is a fact. Nostalgia is a really powerful thing, and she did a great job doing everything that she did with this album. Now, with Riot by Paramore, this album is really important, not just for pop punk rock fans, but also just casual fans with different tastes in general. Especially me. This is why they are one of my favorite bands ever. Um, so Riot really did redefine pop punk energy, um, with amongst raw teenage published pop hooks, shifting genre towards more radio friendly, charismatic sound, and it's not, and it brings back, um, you know, you don't have to be masculine in order to make a project like this. And I think Paramore did really well with this whole album. Now skips, and it really does inspire different bands like the Water Parks, Tonight Alive. Not even that, but it inspired Olivia Rodrigo. That's how much big impact it did. Not just for the rock community, but the music in general. And it's one of the great things. And honestly, we may not be able to reach those type of things again in the early 2000s rock. I may be wrong though, but is really hard to do something like that. All right. So another thing, I don't have the album here, but The Last Dawn by Don Omar. Um Without him, we would not see anybody like Bad Bunny or Daddy Yankee, and Daddy Yankee is also a part of this too. Just in case if you don't know that the reason why we have so many world stuff, like also like K-pop and reggaeton and everything, because there's always that one artist that obviously have the global effect on it. So yeah, The Last Dawn by uh Don Omar, alongside with Daddy Yankee. It have hits like Dale and Dale Don Dale, was pivoted into bringing reggaeton and Puerto Rico and into the mainstream. And that's huge because without that, we would not have someone like Bad Bunny or Raul Alejandro going globally hit and being stuck in Puerto Rico. And I'm gonna go to the next question then. All right, this is one of the questions. Does sales really matter in this instance when it comes to identify a classic? It really does depend, honestly. It can go both ways. It can matter if you are trying to look for a musician that leads the genre. For example, we have Kendrick Lamar right now. He's the leader of hip hop right now. Like it or not, he is one of them. And he brought this, and he identified he is is the definition of a leader what like what hip hop should be is or what should be sounding like. And then the problem is that we have is after Kendrick, who will be the next one? That's always we always got to ask that one. Now Taylor Swift, I believe, is still a leader of the pop genre, but right after that, who's going to be next? Is it going to be Billie Eilish? Is it going to be Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter? You know, those are the things that we have to discuss when it comes to that. And sales do matter. With popularity does matter. And for the people that says like, oh, popular stuff is so super overrated and everything, you don't need to like it. You just need to see and recognize, without these popular artists, you would not have. Without these popular albums, I mean, with those artists, you would not have those inspirations in the first place. You just would not. Now, I wanted to bring an example here. Now, MF Doom, Mad Villainy, 2004 album. Now, does it sell like Drake album sale numbers? Hell no. Not even Kanye. It came out at the exact same time as College Dropout. Now, what this album does bring is help impact like artists like Tyler the Creator, which he's really popular right now. Earl Sweatshirt, not as not as popular as Tyler, but the sound is definitely got inspired by MF Doom. Even Eminem, and believe it or not, even Drake got inspired by Mad Villainy. Those are the things that you should be thinking about when it comes to like recognition. Sometimes just recognize only a bit till other peers of musicians recognize what you have done, and then you change the sound, and that's what you're bringing up. And the other question that we should ask is whose opinion should matter of who what should be defined a classic or not. Should it be the consumer? Should it be us? Should it be the critics like Rolling Stones and everything? Now the reason why I brought this up, because Ebro, one of the Breakfast Club members, made a joke about Drake never having a classic album, and it's kind of crazy to me how even though he may be joking or not, I don't know if he's trying to get attention and everything, but he actually does believe that. This is a huge issue because how can you tell me this album right here did not change and impact culture? What this album did, I know where I was at when this album came out. And that's the thing that people don't understand. When I still hear songs from that album every time. Headlines still playing. Underground King, still playing. Take Care, still playing. This album literally defined, early 2010s rap. You just have to recognize that you may not like Drake because the whole rap beef and everything, but he definitely has to really does define that sound in the new hip hop world. Yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous. Now you can just argue like Drake has maybe multiple and everything, but he definitely has some classics out there. Not even that. J. Cole, this album is definitely a classic. You cannot deny that. And again, I don't know why people are still debating whether or not he has a classic or classics. Like I said, it's personal preference, but again, people should recognize, what this album has done. Same thing as Take Care. Same thing as To Pimp a Butterfly. Kendrick has multiple classics, but what makes J. Cole and Drake not classics? Or other than that, what makes other pop artists, like Melanie Martinez saying like that if she doesn't have a classic or not? Those are the issues that is a huge problem because how you're gonna say that something does not have a classic, but you're still playing songs from those albums? It just does not make any sense to me. The only thing we can do is just because you don't like something, it doesn't mean you can't recognize what it done. And also, just because you love something doesn't mean it's automatically going to be a classic. Now, there is a difference between fan favorites and an actual classic. I would say like how people identify a classic. It doesn't matter if you're a huge fan or just or a casual fan, and you both agree that this, like, yes, this is one of the best albums ever, no matter what. Like for example, like Eminem has three classic albums. However, there are fan favorites like Relapse. Now, you may love Relapse, but isn't really a classic. Not really. It's just a fan favorite. Like it's just sorry that like you have to hear it, but it's really true. Same thing with same thing with Paramore. Like if you love the album Paramore, it's not really a classic. It might be considered a fan favorite. Or J. Cole, the off season, is it really an actual classic? It's really debatable, but so far I think it is considered a fan favorite. Okay, now here are the fun things I personally want to bring up. Do you think that this will be a classic album no matter what? No matter what. It came out last year, 1 year ago. Today, this year, we have the Super Bowl. He performed it. This album is highly praised. It won a Grammy for best album. Now, it's really rare for that kind of stuff to happen in Latin music. Now, you cannot deny that some songs in here, some you may skip. I even consider some songs to be skippable, but for consistency basis, it's really that consistent. And you got to recognize that this album does so much for Puerto Rico, and not just that, but like just the Spanish culture in general. Like without this, we would. Without this, I don't think we would have any other more like artists that are coming out, like Robert Alejandro or Young Miko. Those type of artists. Um, it will Latin. Reggaeton would literally keep growing because of something like this. This made impact. All right. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is like God Sort Out by Clips. Now, so came out last year. I think I got at least one Grammy if I believe or not. But it recognized from what happened last year. Now, is it as mainstream as like I don't know, like Travis Scott or like Some Sexy Songs for You by Drake and Party Next Door? Not really. But if you're a huge hip hop fan, that is for the culture and you're in it. I think Clips did a really good job in this, and it's really hard to say if it is going to be a classic or not. But I would do say this: it does have some stuff to be considered a classic. It has originality. It does have some consistency. And the critics has been praised really well. But we just have to wait for the longevity. That's the thing. We have to wait till if it's actually that. Another album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. I don't now I'm not really a big fan of this album particularly, but I can understand why people love it. And it's in the Grammys, and it has some multiple songs that people are enjoying and everything. And I can respect that. And I do like Billie Eilish, but this album isn't for me. But I would not be surprised if later on, like maybe 5 years or so, it will be considered a pop classic. And it was really good for her too. Um, Now, last thing, Lisa, Alter Ego. Come on. Come on. It's a classic. Come on. Look at her. Come on. Just killing it. Nah, jokes aside, who knows? It might be a classic for K-pop. You know, like Blackpink, the group in general, like since last year, are really good with consistently when it comes to music like that. But who knows? Maybe it might be, maybe it won't. My guess is it probably won't, but it will probably still be recognized. But who knows? So other than that, what I'm trying to get the idea of is don't use the term classic loosely like that. It's really dangerous to hear or see people just reacting just because something that they don't like or they heard something for the first time just like, oh, I don't see it, or oh, it's definitely not a classic. You know, it's it's just like really a shame that people would just change something like that, and then also like the critics obviously are getting shit on just because of like and that's the thing too. Critics do sometimes they have touch based on reality. Sometimes, like sometimes I would not like the needle drops. Album reviews like when he did that album was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But I'm pretty sure he did recognize why it is considered like a classic to many fans. So other than that, love all the music you enjoy. And honestly, if you have things that's considered classic, but your personal classics, then that's what really should matter the most. All right. Um, I'm gonna end this video right now. So please comment down below. What's your favorite classic album? And thank you very much.